We're going to once again use Hurricane Delta 2020 as a quick video to showcase whatever we're talking about on a particular page. This time we're talking about the categories as we move through based on wind speed. And so essentially we have a tropical storm here, and a tropical storm at 55 knots, so we've not reached the 64 knot threshold to become a Category 1 hurricane. But in this case of this tropical depression, it continued to intensify. It continued to see increasing wind speeds and decreasing air pressure, so much that that low pressure really started to develop, and we see a Category 1 hurricane now claimed at this particular point because of the wind speed going above 64 knots, this case being 65 knots. Notice the air pressure continues to go down. Of course, we're moving westward from the east to the west with a little bit of a curve to the right here. And as we start to bend towards the north, notice that the air pressure goes down to, now the surface pressure goes down to 973 millibars, but the wind speed increases to 75 knots. Not yet a Category 2 hurricane yet, because we have not surpassed 82 knots. And so once we get to 83 knots, then it's called a Category 2 hurricane. Moving to the next one, we just went ahead and we skipped Category 2. So essentially what happened was there's a dot here in which that would be the point in time in which Category 2. It doesn't mean it just never doesn't really skip. It just essentially that point isn't recorded on this particular line here. So now we've gotten to above 96 knots. So now we're Category 3 with 100 knots. Notice the surface air pressure is decreased now to 959 millibars. And here we have the very, very warm air, but also very warm sea surface temperatures found in this particular area of the world. So you also have, somewhat shallow seas, but the key here is very intense solar radiation. And so the fact here in October, this is also what's going on here, is we have October, which we're in peak hurricane season, but water is sluggish to heat up but also cool down. And so here in October, it's still very warm, this particular sea surface temperatures, causing the category of the hurricane to go, in this case, above Hurricane 3, now our Category 4. And so here the wind speeds have surpassed 113 knots. Now at 120 knots, this is the highest speeds recorded for this particular hurricane during its path. And so the low pressure reading there at 953 millibars. And now this storm continues on, has now been downgraded to a Category 3, and then downgraded to a Category 2, and eventually downgraded to Category 1. And so this is all based on its wind speeds going down as that air pressure starts to rise. And so continuing on though, however, the warm waters of the Gulf of Mexico actually cause this sucker to increase again. And so the wind speeds go back up, and essentially we have a category, if we keep on going, we got a Category 2 hurricane once this makes landfall on the Louisiana coast. And so at the time, the wind speeds was right there in that Category 2, 83 to 95 range at 85 knots, and the air pressure still quite low, well below the 1,000 millibar magic number,